David Drucker is Associate Politics Editor for Roll Call, and he's with me now. David, welcome to the program. So the answer from the White House is that the FBI has protocols about when they report something, and that is true. But does that answer the question about whether they followed protocol in this particular instance in terms of not getting this to the White House sooner?
Well, no, I don't think that answers the question. I think these are things we'll find out in the coming days and weeks. I think it's true that whenever you're investigating a very high-ranking official, anybody down ballot in the government is going to want to make sure they've got things right, because nobody wants to bring an accusation against somebody like the CIA director, for example, unless they know exactly what they're talking about and they know exactly what the facts are, because it's not going to bode well for them as an investigator or somebody lower level if they start hurling accusations that don't pan out. So I do think there's something to the fact that the FBI wanted to make sure it knew exactly what it was talking about before it brought this to the White House. The question that we don't have answered yet is, at some point, clearly the FBI felt like it knew what it needed to know. Was that not until right around the election, or was that much sooner? And
just so our viewers know, the long-standing FBI policy is for the FBI not to brief Congress, not to brief the White House in the middle of a criminal probe that does not involve a security threat. So there's a question about whether they thought this could be a security threat, given that the director of the CIA had been compromised in some way, or whether they did not think that, and when they did alert someone up the chain, exactly who knew what and when. These reports from the Wall Street Journal that Eric Holder knew something in September, but the White House maintains it was not told until last week. Now I want to ask you, David, about Libya and General Petraeus' testimony. He emerged as a central figure in all of this when we were trying to figure out who was talking about a video, when all the information we were getting from the ground related to a terrorist attack, Ansar al-Sharia, surrounding the hospital to which the ambassador was dragged, and so on. And we didn't know who said anything about a video. And then we found out from lawmakers on Capitol Hill that General David Petraeus was talking about a video that first week that he went up there to talk about him. Well, now he's not going to testify. And the question is whether Congress can make him.
Well, I believe Congress can subpoena anybody they want, and there have been plenty of instances where somebody that was no longer serving in government went to testify before a committee that was investigating or taking a look at a certain policy or incident. So I don't think his stepping down as CIA director precludes him from testifying. I think we should be careful not to let one thing look as though it is affecting the other. I don't see how David Petraeus would want to embarrass himself and his family simply to get out of testifying before Congress over what happened in Benghazi, particularly when we consider the fact that he's been respected as a military man and a thinker on both sides of the aisle, and probably would have carried some weight with his testimony. We know that the Democratic chairwoman of the Senate Intel Committee wants him to testify, Dianne Feinstein, as well as House Republicans. So this is a bipartisan request and hope that he gets before Congress. So I think that these things appear to run together, but there's more to this than meets the eye.
Well, I mean, even if there's two schools of thought, if you think that the two events are related, the resignation and the testimony he was about to give about Benghazi, it could go either way, because if he went out there and defended the administration and the story about the video, and then it emerged that he had this affair and he was disgraced, people might say that the testimony was undermined, that the man lied, to his wife and his family. Why wouldn't he have lied to Congress? And then you could spin it the other way, that he told people a false story about a video because he wanted the administration to cover his back lest the affair come out. There's just so much we don't know, and number one, before you get to any of that, is whether the two events are connected in any way, shape, or form. David, thank you.